Hey guys, in this video, we're looking at lesson 2.8, average rate of change. Now, average rate of change is another way of saying what a lot of times we'll call slope. All right, so we're just trying to find the slope of these different lines. Now, for the first 8 problems, we're given a line, we're given a graph. And then for the last 8 problems, we're going to see, well, what if I only know 2 coordinate points? How can I find the slope? All right, so from my lines, let's look at these. I need to first off know that I'm looking at them going from left to right. We're always reading our graph going from left to right. So if I look at number 1, and I think about this from left to right, I want to think, is the line going up or is it going down? Easiest way to show this is think, okay, if I go to the farthest left part of my line and I draw a little stick figure, and my stick figure needs to move along my line, but he needs to move to the right, is my stick figure going to go up or is he going to go down? Well, he's going to go down. And because he's going to go down, that means that my slope is negative. We have a negative slope. Right? All right. Well, now we want to figure out, well, what's the value of my slope? How negative is it? Slope is how steep the line is. Now, 2 different ways of writing this. You'll see I draw my lines because we're using fractions. Right? Now, the most common way people will write this is called the rise over run. The only problem with rise over run is some people forget which way is the rise and which way is the run. So know that the top is my up or down, and then the bottom is my right or left. Okay, how much I go up or down is on top. How much I go left or right is on the bottom, or you can think of the top as your y's and the bottom as your x's. Okay, so right here, I wrote my little red negative. I'm gonna put a little black fraction bar. And let's see here. We'll let green be how far up or down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at this coordinate point right here, and I need to get to this coordinate point here, but I can't just go diagonally like that. I have to follow my little grid lines. Think of them as like city blocks. And I'm first going to go up or down. Well, from this first box to this second block, dot, I'm going to go down, and I go down 2 units. See those? 1 block, 2 blocks. I went down 2. Well, again, up and down is on top, so I'll put that 2 right there. Well, to get to my other block, I still need to go over. I'm going to go over. We call this the run, or I'm going to the right. Well, I went over 1 block, 2 blocks. So that's a 2. I went over 2. So my slope is negative 2 over 2. That's not a simplified answer, but that is an answer. It is a correct answer. I'm going to simplify that though and say, oh, well, 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So I can say my answer is negative 1. There's my slope. Let's look at number 2. Well, think first. As I move to the right, is the line going up or down? Well, put a stick figure over here on the farthest left part of my line, and my stick figure has to go to the right. My stick figure is going to go up. That means I have a positive slope. All right, well, if I have a positive slope, let's find my 2 coordinate points. Here's one. Different color than that. There's one, and there's the other. I want to go from one to the other, okay? So first I'm going to start off going up or down. Well, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went up 6 units. And then I'm going to go over 1, 2 units. Now, where do I put those numbers? Well, the up and down number is the 6. It goes on top. All right, so the 6 is on top. What goes on the bottom? Well, that's the over or the right, or call it the run. The 2 goes on the bottom. So my slope is positive 6 over 2. Well, once again, I can simplify positive 6 over 2. Positive 6 over 2 simplifies to positive 3. All right, so see if you can try problems numbers 2 and 3. So you can pause the video, try numbers 2 and 3 before I go over them. I said 2 and 3. Sorry, I meant problems 3 and 4. We did number 2 already. 3 and 4. All right, so for number 3, I'm going to start off my little man. Think about him up here. Oh, he's on the far left side. He's always going to start on the far left side. He's always going to be moving to the right. And is he going to go up or down? Well, he's going to be going down, which means that my slope is going to be a negative number. All right, I have a negative number. Let's see. Going from this point to this point, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 units. That goes on top. Up or down goes on top. How many am I going to go over? Well, I'm only going to go over 1 unit. So my slope is negative 3 over 1. Well, if I simplify my slope, negative 3 over 1, 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So my slope is simplified negative 3. All right, let's look at number 4. 4 again, draw my little stick figure on the far left side of my graph. My stick figure has to be moving to the left. Is my stick figure going to move up or down? He's going to be moving up as he moves along my line, which means that I have a positive slope. Brush bar there. All right, so I'm moving from this point to this point over here. Well, if I move from here to there, I'm going to go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units that I go up. That goes on top. And then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units that I go over. So I have a slope of positive 6 over 6. But of course, just like the other ones, I can simplify that. Well, 6 divided by 6 is just 1, so I can simplify my slope to just positive 1. All right, see if you can do the next 4. So that's problems 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next problem I'll do will be problem number 9, because that's when we change something different. All right, so for problems numbers 9, 10, 11, 12, the rest of these, I'm given 2 coordinate points, okay? Now, we want to find our average rate of change, which again, I called the slope. We use that as a kind of a shorter name for it. For finding the slope or the average rate of change, we have a formula, and this is our formula for it. We're going to call it the y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And that might look super confusing. Hopefully we'll make it seem like it's not that confusing, but that's what it is. All right. Now, this is really the same thing we did on our graphs though. Notice we have the y's on top, that's the up or down, and we have the x's on the bottom, that's the left and right. So this little formula just says, well, how far is it going up and down over how far is it going left and right? Now, I need to label my coordinate points. Now it's super important that I know which one's X and which one's Y. So just like X comes before Y in the alphabet, when I label my points, that's the first one's X, second one's Y. First one's X, second one's Y. Okay? But the problem is I have two different X's and two different Y's. So what we're going to do is we're just going to number them. We're going to say, hey, this is my first X and my first Y. This is my second X and my second Y. Okay. Once I do that, all I have to do is just plug them in to their correct spots. Now, here's my formula over here in orange. I'm going to pencil in some parentheses around each one. Okay. Just to show over here when I go to plug these in. So I'm going to say, okay, parentheses, parentheses, parentheses minus parentheses. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to say, okay, the first one, this one right here is y2. Well, if I look up here, where's y2? Well, it's right there. And y2 is negative 12. So I'm going to put negative 12 in that parentheses. Okay. Next, I'm going to say, well, y1. Where's y1? Well, there's y1. It's 11. Come down to the bottom. x2. Which one's x2? Oh, there it is. x2 is negative 16. And lastly, it's blue already. Red. x1. Well, x1 is the last one. It's 5. And there we go. All right. Now, I'm going to simplify this down. I'm going to say, okay, at the top, I have negative 12 minus 11. All right. Now, I know sometimes negative numbers and subtracting can be difficult. Easiest way to do this is think about this as money. Negative 12 means I owe somebody $12. Minus means I owe them another $11. So if I owed somebody $12 and then now I owe them another $11, I now owe them, so negative $23 over. All right. What about in the bottom? What do we get? Well, I have negative 16, so I owe somebody $16 minus, so I owe them another, and it says 5, minus 5. So I owed them $16. Now I owe another $5. So 16 and 5 make negative $21. Okay. Now for my fraction rules, if I have a negative divided by a negative, see I have a negative on top and a negative on the bottom, a negative divided by a negative makes a positive. So my answer is actually going to become a positive 23 over 21. Usually, I'm going to try to simplify my fraction, but 23 is a prime number. That means nothing divides into it. So I actually cannot simplify 23 over 21. I could change it to, say, like a mixed fraction, but with slope or average rate of change, we always leave them as an improper fraction. So we're actually going to leave our answer just like that. All right, come over here and try number 10. Same way. So again, X, Y, X, Y. I'm going to number them. That's my first X and my first Y. That's my second X and my second Y. Draw my little slope formula out. Parentheses minus parentheses. Parentheses minus parentheses. Let's see what we get. All right. First thing, we'll try to use the same colors from earlier. So I circled Y2 in blue. There's my Y2 and it's negative 10. I circled Y1 in green. Y1 right there. It's 11. Down in the bottom, circled x2 in purple. X2 is 12. And then lastly, x1, circle that in red, is 19. All right, so let's see what we have here. In the top, -10, I owe somebody $10. -11, ooh, now I owe them another $11. -10, -11, owing them 10, owing 11, now I owe a total of -$21. In the bottom, +12, ooh, positive me, that means I have $12. But then there's a minus. Now I'm owing somebody $19. Well, if I have $12, I owe somebody $19. I paid $12, but I still owe them how much money? Well, if I paid off $12 of the 19 that I owe, I still owe $7, so -7. All right. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, just like before, we ended up with a negative on top and the negative on the bottom. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I know my answers are going to be positive. Also, 21 over 7. 21 is divisible by 7. 7 divides into 21, and it divides into 21 3 times. So my final answer is going to be +3. All right. Go ahead and pause the video here and see if you can answer 11 and 12 before I go over them. Oh, oh, 1, 2. Oh my goodness, wow. Sorry. Let's try this again. 1, 1, second X, second Y. There we go. I guess that's a good time to point out that if you do this, that is a mistake. Don't do that. I just tried to do. There we go. So those two are both ones. These are both twos. Now, for the sake of the video, if you do this, that's perfectly fine. Okay. I can make the first point my x2, y2. I can make the second point my x1, y1. That's perfectly fine. But I cannot mix and match. So if I make this one a 1, that one's got to be a 1. If I make this one the 2, the y with it's got to be y2. All right. So let's plug in to our formula. So I got parentheses minus parentheses. All right. So first thing on my formula was y2. There's y2, it's 10. Second thing is y1, which is -14. Second thing, x2, 11. And then lastly, we got x1, which is 13. All right, in the top, I have +10 minus, I'm minusing a -14. Couple ways to think about this. Just like when I was dividing a negative divided by a negative, it became a positive. Two negatives here, so when I'm subtracting a negative, those also become a positive. Going back to our money example, best way to explain this one is minusing negative means like I'm canceling the debt that I owe. Okay, so I'm going to put a positive, make both of those positive, so that becomes 10 plus 14, and 10 plus 14 is +24. In the bottom, I have 11 minus 13. A little more straightforward. 11 minus 13. I have $11, but I owe 13. Pay off the 11, but I still owe, so -$2. Right? Well, here, I'm going to put the little positive symbol up there on the 24. Notice that I have a positive divided by a negative. Whenever I have a positive divided by a negative, my answer is going to be negative. Okay? When the signs are different, it doesn't really matter if the negative's on top and the positive's on the bottom, or it's like the one I have, my answer is going to be negative. Positive 24 divided by negative 2 is just negative 12. Not every slope is going to simplify to be a whole number. Number 10 and number 11 did, but remember number 9, we had to leave it as a fraction, okay? It just happened that numbers 10 and 11 both simplified to be whole numbers. All right, let's look at number 12. X, Y, X, Y, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. All right, so we're going to start off with Y2, which is 5, minus Y1, which is 3. And then we're going to do X2, which is 11, minus X1, which is 9. Let's see what we get. In the top, I have positive 5 minus 3. Ooh, that's a pretty easy one to do. 5 minus 3 is 2. In the bottom, 11 minus 9. 11 minus 9 is also 2. Now notice that both of those are positive numbers, okay? When I have a positive on top and a positive on the bottom, my answer is going to be positive. And once again, I have 2 over 2. Well, 2 over 2 simplifies to be a whole number. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So my answer is positive. All right, so there we go. Those 4 examples for you. Go ahead and try numbers 13, 14, 15, and 16. Last 4 on the paper.